There was a woman named Hannah, a woman of quiet strength and deep longing. She lived in the town of Shiloh, a place where the tabernacle of the Lord stood, where God's presence dwelt among his people. Hannah's life seemed ordinary to those who saw her from the outside. She had a husband, Elkanah, who loved her deeply. She had a home, a family, and the rhythm of life around her. But within her heart, there was a longing so profound that it shadowed every joy, every smile, every quiet moment. Hannah longed for a child. She longed to hold in her arms a son, a gift that had been denied her for many years. Each day without a child pressed on her spirit like a stone upon her chest. She would wake in the early hours, before dawn, and whisper into the darkness, her words soft, trembling, barely audible. "Lord, if you would look upon me, if you would give me a child, a son, I would dedicate him to you, all the days of his life." These whispers were more than words. They were the echo of her soul, a melody of hope threaded through sorrow. She longed not only for the joy of motherhood, but for a life that seemed incomplete, a piece of her heart that had been missing for too long. When she looked at the women around her, women who bore children easily, women like Peninnah, who seemed to mock her pain, Hannah's heart would tremble, her eyes would burn, and yet she would bow in silent prayer rather than strike out in anger. Every year, Hannah's husband, Elkanah, would take his family to Shiloh to offer sacrifices to the Lord. They would bring the best of their flocks, the finest of their grain, and they would worship together. And every year, Hannah's heart would swell with anticipation, only to be pierced again by the realization that her womb remained empty. She would sit quietly during the feasts and sacrifices, her lips moving with silent prayers, her heart trembling with hope and despair. Each word she whispered was a plea, each sigh a testament to her longing. One year, as they came to Shiloh, the pain seemed heavier than ever. Peninnah's words were sharp, cutting like thorns. "Why do you weep, Hannah? Is your heart so empty that you cannot rejoice in the children God has given me?" Hannah's heart sank, but she swallowed the tears threatening to fall. She smiled through the ache, but the sorrow within her could not be hidden. Later, in the quiet of the tabernacle, after the sacrifices had been made and the people had gone their way, Hannah went to stand before the Lord. Her hands trembled as she gripped the edge of the doorway. Her heart was pounding, her eyes wet with tears that she could no longer contain. She knelt bowing low, her forehead pressed to the floor. And then she began to pray not in loud voices, not in chants, not in the words of men, but in a silent, trembling whisper that seemed almost too quiet to be heard. "O Lord of hosts, you know the longing of my heart. You see the emptiness that others cannot see. You have searched my soul, and you know my deepest desire. If you will grant me a son, I will give him wholly to you. He shall be your servant all his days. Lord, hear me. Look upon me. Remember me." Her body shook as she spoke, her lips moving, yet no sound reached the ears of those nearby. Her eyes, brimming with tears, lifted toward the heavens, though no one was watching but God. Her heart poured out, a river of sorrow and hope, a prayer that carried years of silent suffering. At that moment, the old priest Eli sat nearby, observing her. He saw the trembling, the intensity, the silent lips moving, and he thought, "Surely this woman is drunk." His voice, sharp with concern, called to her, "How long will you go on being drunk? Put away your wine from you." Hannah lifted her eyes, startled, her hands still clasped tightly. She shook her head gently. "No, my lord, I have not drunk wine or strong drink, but I have poured out my soul before the Lord. Do not think your servant is less than sincere. I am a woman deeply troubled, and I have been speaking to the God of Israel from the depths of my heart." Eli looked at her then, more closely, seeing the truth etched into her face, the sincerity in her eyes. He softened, blessing her with a gentle voice. "Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant the petition of your heart." Hannah left the tabernacle that day with a heart strangely light. The weight she had carried for years seemed to lift, replaced by a quiet hope that was almost tangible. She walked home slowly, feeling the wind on her face, hearing the distant voices of the town, but in her soul there was a peace that had eluded her for so long. Time passed, and the Lord remembered Hannah. The longing of her heart was fulfilled, and she conceived a son. The day he was born, she named him Samuel, saying, "Because I asked the Lord for him." Her joy was overwhelming. She held him close, feeling the warmth of his tiny body, listening to the soft breaths of life he took, and she whispered prayers of thanksgiving into his ear. Every sigh, every smile, every gentle coo was a testament to the miracle of answered prayer. Yet Hannah did not forget her vow. As Samuel grew, she brought him to the tabernacle, presenting him to the Lord's service as she had promised. She kissed his forehead, whispering soft words of blessing and hope, tears of gratitude streaming down her face. "Grow strong, my son. Serve the Lord. May your life be pleasing to him as he has answered my heart." And in that place, Hannah's heart erupted in a song, a hymn of praise that would echo for generations. "My heart exults in the Lord. My horn is exalted in the Lord. My mouth speaks boldly against my enemies, for I rejoice in your salvation. There is none holy like the Lord, for there is none besides you. There is no rock like our God." Hannah's story, her silent weeping, her whispered prayers, her desperate hope, and her faithful fulfillment of her vow became a living testament to the power of God's timing and his mercy. She was a woman who dared to hope when hope seemed impossible, who poured out her soul in prayer, who trusted in God even when the world mocked her, and whose faith brought forth a legacy that would shape the nation of Israel. Even in her deepest sorrow, Hannah's faith did not waver. Her story reminds all who hear it that God sees every tear, hears every whispered prayer, and answers in his perfect time. The longing of a heart, when surrendered fully to him, can become a song of joy that will resonate through the ages. Hannah's life, full of longing, devotion, prayer, and faith, continues to inspire all who hear it, teaching that patience, hope, and trust in the Lord are never in vain. Her story is a quiet testament, a prayer whispered in darkness that became a hymn of light, a tale of a woman whose heart spoke louder than words, and whose faith shaped the destiny of her child Samuel and the history of God's people.